Got Cody and Heyoka here. Yeah, no, actually, I gotta fix Matt's thing here.
Oh.
All right, and we're gonna talk. No, we're not gonna really talk Dota. So,
Shucks.
no, I figured we'd
Like
had some
three interesting matches in the last month.
Yeah, exactly. I know you guys love the Dota segments so much that no. Let's I don't know. It's like, what topics do we have for you guys? I know Richard had a lot, just not a lot, but just some things to ask Cody about or ask you about Hitbox. Given that you've been much more quiet since you've joined. You've actually joined Hitbox. We haven't heard much from you.
I'm part of the machine now. So
Yeah,
I
you did the same
Exactly.
thing Adebisi did. You got hired and then immediately stopped
we were-
tweeting interesting things.
The funny thing with me and Adebisi was we were hired for our like sort of controversial and outgoing personalities, and then the second we were hired, we retracted.
Boring
But that is
motherfuckers.
the nature
Sucks,
of the world.
man.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you sell out, man. You
Yeah.
sell
So
out.
basically, you are.
That's
what happens.
Right?
Yeah.
That
Well,
is.
I made a good
That seems to be
career out of
pretty
it,
much
though.
confirmed at this point, Cody.
I sell out, but I sell up. So I should maybe put that up.
Sell up?
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Just upward,
Oh
upward,
my
upward bound,
God.
right?
That's like
A soldier of
ever.
fortune. Yeah, this is going to be remixed, and I will have to talk to my boss about this. Otherwise, I'm positive about it.
Put that on your business
Hey,
card.
look, let me just talk a little bit about Hitbox while we're here, though. I mean, like, okay, so if you're answerable to Aladdin, or Aladdin as he likes to be called, let me just say that there's nothing you're gonna do. I mean, seriously, this guy is out of his mind, fucking wrecked all the time, to the point where even.
Oh my
No,
god.
seriously.
Okay, so
No.
This is a strong start.
No, I just want to say, like, this guy from Hitbox is fucking. He'll love this. He is the craziest dude in esports right now. Like, seriously, when it comes to taking, well, I don't even know if he takes drugs. Probably does. But I'd need to run a blood test on him to be absolutely sure. Although his pupils tell me another fucking story. But this guy is fucking wild, dude. Like, he loves to party. He can't criticize anybody. He can't come down on anyone like a ton of bricks. I think you guys, as long as you align yourselves with him, you're gonna be safe at Hitbox.
okay.
I've always got along with him personally.
So just for folks to know, the people that are at Hitbox, the people that are at Hitbox are the people that were at Owned, right?
No.
Close-ish, but not really. That's
Yeah.
one of the very. So the CEO of Hitbox was this CFO who was brought in the fucking very late stages of Own to try, like, that was their saving grace. If one person could pull off the Hail Mary, it would be him. Unfortunately, he couldn't, and then the CTO was the same. So the person behind the technology, not the person responsible for the hemorrhaging cash over at Own 3D.
Because Oleg, who was the guy responsible for
Yeah,
that
Oleg.
to-date
That's right. I
promotion,
forgot about. Yeah.
Right now. So I mean, no, the Hitbox crew are really cool. I'm trying to underline how cool they are, not that they're fucking derelicts. Well, actually, they might be derelicts, but that's what makes them
Yes,
cool.
see, cool
Like-
to you is like similar to you, which is basically a derelict,
Yeah.
right?
No, but here's the thing. So Hitbox, before they approached Cody, they approached me. They wanted me to be a brand ambassador, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? If no one wants me to be an ambassador of their brand. Like, if you're looking at me and thinking, you know what, everything about you is our brand, look at your brand. That's what I said to them. I said, don't hire me for that. So they went out and they were like, well, he's kind of right. What we need a derelict. That
Who's
kind of a bit
second
more
most
polished.
drunk is what happened.
Right. No, they were like, who's drunk, but also, like, you can still take him to a family wedding or whatever. And they found Cody. And that's it, man. And that's how the magic happened. They realized that me being a mess was a fact, and they found
Give me a
Cody,
sec-
who was
give me a
slightly less
sec-
of a mess.
Aladdin's talking to me right now. He has a question.
Yeah,
I'll be right.
telling you you're fired.
I'm
He's
sorry, my
telling
wife
you
needs
you're
me.
fired. Oh god, I love that guy though. Seriously, he's out of his mind in a beautiful way. I love him. But yeah,
Yeah. Hitbox, man. Interesting. Right?
I love it. Yeah,
There's like no
Hitbox.
follow up to that now. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, no,
Actually,
yeah.
Rich,
Yeah, it
Rich
really
told me
isn't.
that
Sorry,
the back end of Hitbox is very, very similar to Own 3D, and it's one of maybe two
He said
websites.
he inhaled. He said he inhaled frequently, and that was the point.
Good guy. See what I mean? He makes look. This is the guy. This is why. This is one of the things I love about Hitbox. That they actually, they're not trying to be too fucking polished. In this illusion of not, oh, we're super serious. We're all businessmen. Like Aladdin likes the fucking party, and I think that's great. And I love the Hitbox guys. Like, I've done some work with Twitch, but as I've always maintained, competition is a good thing. I think Hitbox are going to go far in this space. I still don't know why they've hired Cody. I still don't know what he does for them, and I am very intrigued at the prospect of him explaining that.
So this happened all like when Cody, you were like all sucking Richard's dick and saying like, "Oh man, you've been like the biggest thing for Daily Dot. Oh my god, you're like the top 5 articles like this entire year." Did you just like peace out there after that or what?
No. So I still have an open contract with the Daily Dot. The very fortunate. So the most important thing in any business is to have strong relationships. So I'm willing to take credit right now. I'm gonna fucking put that. I'm gonna claim responsibility right now. There were other organizations out here in the space, organizations credited for being leaders in esports journalism that passed up on our boy Richard. Organizations that I might have worked for, and I mentioned to my editor that I was like, "Hey man, I like me and Richard had." Talked a little bit in the past, and even though we used to hate one another, I think he's a genuine cat, and then I think that he's probably about as strong as a writer as there is. And I think Daily Dot's focus is in writing. Richard gets hired as a writer and does very well. So my recommendation sort of gets me a get out of jail free card for a little bit while I explore opportunities at organizations like Hitbox. So me and Daily Dot are doing fine, largely because Richard is fucking bashing on the numbers for Daily Dot, so easy peasy.
This guy's too cool. Like seriously, like again, just I don't want it to be a love-in for the whole hour, but because like seriously, like there's not many people that have actually got me a job in esports. Like seriously, I think there's like you, Chris. You got me this gig. You've helped raise my profile through Unfiltered, climbing the ladder before that. Cody, like, and again, considering we literally began from a point of absolute hate, like I would love to go back and get our Skype logs, Cody. Like seriously, like I would love to look at the initial conversation we had. I dread to think what I said. It could have. Oh God, it could have. Oh no, I if I wasn't being fucked over right now internet wise, I would probably be able. I would find it and read it on air, but seriously, like since then, we had this really weird drunken conversation. It was in the middle of the night. I think I got back from a nightclub. I was fucked, and Cody was fucked, and we just had. He was like saying, "Yeah, I want to do this series where I like interview people, find out about their lives." So I gave him some bullet points, and then we just kind of hit it off. And I was like, it was like this weird moment where it's like, why have we been fighting all this time, dude? We're like the same person, man. And then like we all got fucking, Grateful Dead on it. And then next thing I knew, this cat hooked me up with a job. So good for him, man. And like you say, he still avoided the question about what he actually does at Hitbox. But he's also made me sound like I'm a big swinging dick, so I don't give a fuck.
I think Hitbox is still largely trying to figure out what I'm doing for Hitbox, but and I'm gonna continue to avoid the question until like the ultimate moment comes where this does need to be answered. So that's where we are right now, man.
All right, I'll go to Matt now. All right, Matt.
Hello.
I know you have some unfiltered questions. Just a like open topic. I do have some topic about just.
Wait, do I?
I don't know. You always have something, but I'll open it up with at least community site, because you run the Dota community site right now, right?
Okay. Yes. Right.
And I know Monk like runs the Hearthstone one, which is obviously pretty new too. So like, how are we gonna community sites, we talked about a little bit like on the last show that you were on, just like starting to, not be the focal point as much as like Reddit is right now. So how do we bring it back to the communities? I guess what are you doing on your site?
Well, there's a couple of things, because there's a handful of things we can do that Reddit can't do, or at least Reddit won't be able to do for a little while, and a lot of that is just like fostering actual discussion, because Reddit's not so good for that, and stuff like archiving things, like having like things like guides basically archived and easy to get to, and then like the wiki is a big part, but I guess Reddit kind of has one of those. It's just it's sort of like just a different flavor of a similar thing, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, feature-wise, great, sure, but is that actually getting people there though?
It has been so far, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I kind of think of those things as keeping people there more so than getting them.
It's sort of both. I mean, years ago, the reason I went to TL, I hated the TL forums when I first started watching StarCraft.
Holy shit, yeah.
But I still went to TL all the time because I had to use TLPD and I had to use Liquipedia, and so I think there are certain kinds of features that definitely will. We actually had a lot of people say that they found themselves posting more once we added the gold system, just because they wanted to like customize their shit.
Okay.
So I think some of those. I mean, no one's gonna go there obviously for that, but some of that stuff does help.
I gotta say as well. I mean, Team Liquid forums were like super important for me back in the day. So I can talk about this now because I'm not at Heaven Media anymore. But when I was working at Heaven Media, we used to have meetings all the time. You know how it is. Like, let's strategize how we're gonna get traffic coming into the website. And I was like Mr. Traffic generator. So one of the things we talked about was like, how the fuck are we going to get into StarCraft? This is in 2010. And they were like, we've got no one at the website that knows anything about StarCraft. And there was this massive pressure on me to learn about the game. And I was like, guys, I've been playing the game since, open beta. I suck. Like, it's never happening. I'm never going to be Mr. Oh, what you need to do is build a Baneling, and it was never going to happen, right? Like, it just so they were like, okay, well, how can you manipulate the system that's out there?
Manipulate
and I was
it.
Like, well, yeah, manipulate
What's
it.
manipulate?
I used the word manipulate it. I will use the word manipulate because they were like, you're not a relevant StarCraft personality, which was absolutely true. I'd resisted the urge back when we had access. I was the first, and I've said this on other shows and people probably don't believe it. I was the first UK journalist to review StarCraft 2. Fact.
Wow.
I stayed up for 36 hours. I remember popping.
For what organization? Just out of curiosity, I've seen that before, but for what organization?
It went out on the Gaming Heaven website.
Okay, that's
and and it was what was fucked up was everybody turned around and said like, you reviewed it too quick, bro. Because literally, I got the game. I stayed up for like 36 hours. I played through the single player campaign, and then I wrote some review while I was still sleep deprived. And I'm not even saying the review was good, like, but I was fucked. Like literally, I was fucked. But I was the first guy, and like Blizzard invited a handful of people to the UK launch, and I just happened to be one of them because of the relationship they have with Heaven Media. So they were like, it was really weird. We were putting it on Gaming Heaven. I mean, that was our main gaming website. And then they were like, how can we get into the esports side of things? Because that was the traffic generator. And I was like, well, I can't play the game. So they were like, well, here's what you are good at. You're good at interviews, blah, blah, blah. So they made me go to StarCraft events and do interviews. And that's how I met Destiny. That's how I met, like, iNControL. It was literally this false relevance, if you like. Like I had to fucking artificially inseminate myself into the StarCraft community. It was really fucked up. But like seriously, the rewards for doing that back in 2010 were fucking huge. And to tie into what we were talking about, a big part of that was the Team Liquid forums. They were like, "What plans do you have for the content?" And I was like, "Post it on the Team Liquid forums." Hope I don't get banned. That was my plan. That was literally the plan for my website's future. And they were like, Yeah, that sounds cool. So okay, so I did it, and
At least you were
I
thorough. At least you were
But those
thorough,
were-
Richard.
Those were
no, I
the
was super thorough.
yeah, but those were the pre-Reddit
first
days,
interview
man.
that really took off. The first interview that yeah, exactly. Like the StarCraft 2 sub hadn't really launched at that point. But the first real interview that I was allowed to post, and they didn't delete it or fuck with it in any way, just so happened to be Destiny. Just so happened. When me and
Oh, that's such a
Destiny
nice
did
guy.
this interview, I know, seriously. It was so fucked up because it was literally just on the back of some racism scandal, in inverted commas, that he'd been involved
Oh
in.
yeah, I remember that thread.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I said
What
to
a-
Steven,
I think that was the one who finally closed it.
Yeah,
Oh wow, you're so nice for letting it drag on for 60 fucking pages before closing it, dog. Thanks.
So
To be fair, I was moving that week.
So I pulled Steven. I managed to pull him into the square. It was at Home Story Cup. And I said to him, you know, like, I don't know, you've never met me, dude, but like, I like to ask interesting questions, and I want to talk about this whole racism thing. So he was like, yeah, fucking whatever, dog. Yeah, fuck, yeah, fuck. So we went into this interview, and we talked about StarCraft for maybe 2 minutes of a 25-minute interview. And it included incredible sound bites, like, if you went back into the 1920s and asked a black guy what the biggest problem in his life was, it's not being called a nigger. That was one of the sound bites from the interview. And I was like, people said to me, holy shit, you were really uncomfortable on camera. And I was like, yeah, because this guy was talking about some real uncomfortable shit, but he was raw as fuck. And then my second, and I put it up on Team Liquid forums, and for whatever reason, they decided they weren't going to delete this interview. And it blew up on YouTube. It got like, I don't know, fuck knows, like 30,000, 40,000 hits, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for Cadred, especially, which was a Counter-Strike website, especially in StarCraft, that was huge. And without Team Liquid, that wouldn't have happened. I would never have been able to transition into Mr. StarCraft interview and article guy. And, you know, the same's true, obviously, if Steven had told me to get fucked, refused to do an interview. But Team Liquid was instrumental in allowing me to promote my material. They weren't as generous when the second interview that day went up, and it just so happened to be iNControL. They shut that thread down after about 8 comments. But
Yeah, we had
that,
a policy that you'd have one thread
yeah,
per organization.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, because we got
I
so
had
many
to do
people
back-
making like 50 threads, it was like this. We
I
can't
had
do
to,
this.
yeah. For my first website, so my big break was actually, I had little WikiLeaks for NASL, and yeah, they made me, everything has to be in one thread. You have to, like, collate it, like, you guys
We
were...
have to file the proper paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. You guys were absolutely fanatical about fucking what pretenses shit was released
Hey,
on. It was nuts,
I
man.
think my DDoS is over. Wait there. I'm going to hang up and I'm going to jump in. Keep talking.
Okay.
Peace.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing your handsome mug. But yeah, Team Liquid did not give a fuck. Like, breaking news doesn't matter. Update your forum thread and then post like a bump explaining what's going on, man. You guys used to be...
Well, during
Nazis.
that time, we had so many people making so many threads. It was like that was the only way that we could handle a lot of that stuff. Because people would go to like NASL, they go to these events and they would release their interviews and they would release them
I
as they were
didn't-
uploading them.
I didn't even.
And so you'd end up with people getting like 10, 15 interviews in a day, and they would post a new thread for every one, like 20 minutes apart, and it just drowns out the entire forum.
Those
Yeah,
you
but
don't,
that's
for those you
one
don't
way
know
of
who a
looking at
Heyoka
things.
is, maybe some people are in the chat don't know who Heyoka is. He's actually the director of operations for TL. So he's
Oh, yes.
done a lot of modding, done a lot of stuff on TL.net, and now he runs the actual Liquid Dota site too.
I literally always thought, like, and you know, maybe this is wrong. I just thought, like, if it was good content, just let it go up in your forums. Like, I knew we were all leeching off your forums for traffic. Like, seriously, we were. But the weird thing was, like, you know how, like, when you leech off Reddit are like, have you ever seen this? You can advertise, and we you know, like, they push you towards the monetized option. At no point did anyone from Team Liquid reach out to me or my company and say, look, dude, if you want to advertise and get that Team Liquid traffic, fucking, this is how you do it. They never said that. They were just like, no, we're going to stick to these really weird forum rules that made no sense to me.
Yeah, I like monetizing that would have been a better way to go about it for sure.
Oh, totally.
Well, yeah, sponsored threads.
We'd have paid through the nose back then as well. We were desperate. Like, so Counter-Strike Source was dying, and our website that had gone from being a loss leader to the most profitable was starting to dwindle, and we were looking at like next game. With those interviews that Steven had granted me and Jeff had granted me, all of a sudden I'd arrived in StarCraft. Like, even though I'd done other ones before that, those were the ones that really fucking launched me as a StarCraft journalist. And I was like, how do we monetize this? We can only do it through Team Liquid. If someone from Team Liquid had come at that point and said, if you want to post these interviews on our website, we'll front page them, but you've got to pay crazy money. We'd have paid that crazy money.
Yeah, we did that for
was
something,
that was
but not for
that
very
was
many
the
interviews.
problem. I feel like Team Liquid during this same period was also very oblivious to how to monetize that. Like, there was all this incredible content. Like, I remember during the heyday of StarCraft 2, I felt like everyone working at Team Liquid should have just been gillionaires. And then, you know, everyone walked away and they were just like, well, shucks, man, this was a forum. And you all solemnly hang out at the continental breakfast that you booked for one another at the events that you went to. You know,
I don't think I ever
that
got
was
a continental
that was
breakfast at
called
those
Mafia,
places.
Cody. Okay, that wasn't continental breakfast.
Bro. So let's let fucking Heyoka talk for a minute, man. I've talked over him enough. Let's come on. I want to get his justification for the Team Liquid model. I want to hear it.
On what parts of it? Like stuff like we went through a long time where it was hard to monetize stuff like sponsored threads, and we did pretty okay. Like when Prime would want to sell their shirts and shit, we charged them quite a bit for that, and that did pretty okay. But like the actual displaying content on that website is hard, just because the website itself has so many things going at you all the time. There's like, you know, like 1,000 different links on the front page. It's unreal. So it's a difficult problem to solve. I mean, then it wasn't that high. It was maybe only like 30 or 40%. Now it's like 80.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's what on.
You actually know what's great about Hearthstone is the ad block rate on our Hearthstone stuff is way. It's like half or like less than half.
Really?
Wait until
Yeah, and
Hearthstone
also-
gets a fucking mobile, dog.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and
You
those
can't
users,
ad block on mobile.
They
on
also
mobile
click
devices.
ads more. So
They
they monetize way better in every way.
Go Hearthstone.
Yeah, we actually do. We get a decent amount of mobile traffic on our Hearthstone site too, which is
Have
really
I
nice.
ever said how much I really like that game?
I think you
Seriously?
just said it earlier, actually, when you said.
Who? My
Wait, was that
question
I'll never
is,
fucking-
who,
Hearthstone, I
who
remember.
pioneered?
Weren't you supposed to kill yourself over Hearthstone not that long ago?
Yeah, you're supposed.
No.
Hey, you were supposed to do Nax. Did you finish
I've
Nax?
done it.
Did you finish Nax?
I hear
don't have-
excuses.
Did you
No,
finish Nax in Heroic?
I have done the whole Nax Ramas campaign,
In Heroic?
and I think I've done some elements of the Heroic campaign.
Oh my god.
And regardless, what I want to say is, I think killing yourself is not cool. So, if
Great
we
stance.
could-
What?
That's-
Sudoku's
No, what
not,
I've
Sudoku's
learned
not cool?
since I made those
can chop this up
insensitive
into an
comments
ad.
about
That's
Hearthstone is that suicide is not painless. It really has serious repercussions, and Hearthstone
Master
is not a
great
reason to do
teamers.
it over,
Yeah.
unless you're one of those guys that I said that you should do it. In which case, you should still.
Yeah, unless you're one of those
Master
guys that
is
waits
great
till the rope goes down and then emote spams so that you can Leroy
My
someone.
question is though, who decided to
Steven
split
has
up
no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
Liquid into multiple websites?
Oh, that's a good
kinda
question.
Oh,
That's actually a good
We
question.
decided that I can walk you through that. We decided that
Yeah.
first for Hearthstone because at that time Hearthstone was getting big and it had a forum on our site and it was doing really well. And so we're like, oh well, maybe we can incorporate it into TL. And we started looking at designs and like try to figure out ways to do that. But as it is, the Team Liquid site didn't do that well doing both StarCraft and Dota. It was mostly like a StarCraft site that also had Dota on it, and pretty much every feature is StarCraft related at that point. And stuff like our front page was a huge mess because it's hard to like navigate traffic that's like that. And we had filters, but no one used them. And so we looked at doing like something like Gosu Gamers does, where it's like a multi-level filter thing where you click on games, but that's also super messy because of the way our forum works, and if you want to keep the forum intact, it's not really possible to do that. And so we're like, well, Hearthstone is okay because this was like December or January, and Hearthstone was not really considered to be like an esport. Like if you remember at BlizzCon last
Wait,
year,
it
there
is
was a
now?
Hearthstone tournament. Well,
Sorry.
good one.
I'm just kidding.
But it
I'm
comes
just kidding. I'm just
like,
kidding.
at that
Sorry.
time, like,
You're
Sorry.
so funny, Steven. You're so funny.
oh, maybe people will play this competitively, maybe they won't. Maybe people will have teams, maybe they won't. So we're like, okay, well, since it's a lot different than what TL already does, which is like these more like PC games, these more like super hardcore PC games, I guess, since Hearthstone's also a PC game. We're like, okay, well, let's split it off and see how that feels. Because we knew that looking ahead, we might want to do that for Dota, and like maybe someday we'll have a I don't know, a hero site or some shit.
Yeah.
And so we did that and we split it off, and it went pretty well. Like I found myself visiting Liquid Hearth a lot because the site was so much cleaner, and it was easy to find content there, and it was actually pretty well laid out, and it was
You guys
actually like
have-
a nice new color
This is
scheme.
kind of this is a weird thing too. There's they're not built on the same technology, right? Like actually, Liquid Hearth is sort of like a more modern website.
Oh,
It looks
so
the same to
what we
me,
ended up doing-
man.
no. Well,
Well,
so-
like,
so what
like
we
it's
did-
not like you guys have like the same URL, but like, isn't Liquid Hearth like built on slightly different technology?
No.
Like,
It's the identical site, but what we did, and Rich found out this was a mistake, is he split the database or whatever and like made two sites, and so they're separate like frames, but they're the exact same underlying code, and that's a problem because now like
It's
if
a
you
huge
notice
problem.
our calendar is different on Liquid Hearth than it is on TL, and the one on Liquid Hearth is way better, and it makes it harder to actually add that new calendar to TL, even though it's like 1,000 times better, and it's just so much more easy to read.
The real question is,
fuck.
do you think that Team Liquid's layout is fucking shit? I hate your forums so much. It's agonized me. It took me so long to ever get on Team Liquid because the forums. I don't know. Do you agree with that? Or what's the
that's-
choice there?
Are you
To never,
reading
like,
that,
move over
Steven,
to
or is
something-
that actually your opinion?
No, that's
it's
my
because of-
actual
Okay,
opinion. I hated
okay.
Team Liquid.
Did the ban deter how quickly you
Did the what?
the ban?
The
You were
ban?
banned for a little bit.
No,
Yeah.
not even going into any of that. I'm like, just like the Team Liquid, like if you're not already a poster on Team Liquid, just the way those forums are set up. I mean, I didn't browse too many forums as a kid, but they just seemed like super, the way that everything was arranged, the way that the forums themselves actually work, like, I don't know, like it just seemed really, compared to like a more conventional, like, PHP board or something,
Yeah,
like
well,
crazy. I
I
hated
like-
the forums on Team Liquid.
I like the forums in general, and I really like having all those topics and shit right on the side, so you can read them while you're like going through news and shit. But the problem is that it means when you first go to the website, there's like hundreds and hundreds of links on our front page because of that shit, and it's really difficult to get into because if you look at it, it's just like, holy fuck, what is this?
Yeah.
And so it's like crazy overwhelming, and that's definitely not good, and that's one of the problems that Team Liquid has had historically. Part of it too is because we have all these different features, you need to be able to access stuff, and it makes it really hard just because they're like all there. And so in addition to the forums, there's like the right sidebar and shit. What is Cody freaking out about?
I don't know. He's reading chat, I'm sure. Dumbass.
I read
Nah.
chat.
Dumbass.
I read chat.
The
It's
acid's
a
kicked in, dude.
mistake.
The
I'm so
acid's
sorry.
kicked
He's dumbass.
The acid's
Jeez.
kicked in.
The acid's kicked in.
Yo,
I read
Cody,
chat.
man.
I'm sorry, guy man.
Get
I'm
your
sorry.
full tattoo out. Come on, do the tattoo. It's time.
Tattoo.
Last show. Do
Oh,
the
yeah.
tattoo. Show everybody that it's not
Okay,
really
so
Alex
so,
Garfield's
so Matt,
signature.
Heyoka, were you responsible for banning Steven?
I don't
Wait,
think
what?
I've ever banned Steven, no.
Okay.
Normally
Wait,
for
what did
our...
I get banned?
like,
I got banned
I-
from Team Liquid
bans.
twice. I don't remember
That's
what.
right. So who was responsible for banning Steven?
Normally someone like Hotbit or Naz would do that.
Oh, what?
I did.
Oh,
I banned-
Naz
I
actually
banned
banned him.
Naz,
Naz
and I
is
get
in there?
really
Oh my god.
Victor banned him. Wow.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm just guessing. I did ban Totalbiscuit on accident once, not realizing Totalbiscuit.
Oh,
Snarky
shit,
shit felt like-
dude.
Oh shit.
That's
oh,
so
shit.
sick. That's so
Oh,
sick.
shit. Oh shit.
Hoppin got this message like 10 seconds later. I was like, what the fuck? Who's this idiot you have working for you?
Awesome. This guy is like the fucking sole person trying to save StarCraft 2 and you like accidentally gave him a ban. That's so legit.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
no,
So
but
Hotbit
I
and
mean,
Victor. Wow. Okay.
Is it hard being a mod? Like, why did Steven get banned? How can anyone ban Destiny for anything?
I know.
How can
Fuck
Steven
off.
get banned? Seriously?
My
Okay.
first ban was
Stop
legit. There
that.
was a guy named there was a guy that played StarCraft. These are back. We're going back. Does
Going
anyone
back.
else remember the old Destiny streams? There was this guy named Syndicate, and
I remember the.
I don't
young
remember. I didn't know
Steven.
who he was or anything. This was back on the days with like when it was like, do you stream on live stream or Ustream? Okay, back in these days,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And this guy was streaming on like live stream, and after I beat him in a game, like I didn't know who he was. Somebody linked me, like, dude, this guy's a streamer too. And you know, I had like 300 viewers at the time, right? It was fucking awesome for me. I'd never had so many people watching my life, and people linked me this guy's stream. And fucking, this guy is literally, he opens up beats in YouTube and he's like freestyle rapping about like how shit I am. And I was like, is this real life? Like, this is the real, like, literally like freestyle rapping about how shit I was. I couldn't even fucking believe it. It was fucking amazing. This is one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. We went to like his team Liquid Thread or whatever, and we typed in, I said, everybody type in, I don't remember what it was. It was some stupid saying like that, no GG, no skill, but it wasn't that because that actually hadn't even been said yet. Wow, such old school. But it was something like that, and like we all spammed in his thread, and then I got banned from Team Liquid for a month, I think, or something happened from that, which was RIP. And then I don't remember what the next ban was for, but it might have been for calling that Asian kid something bad. I don't remember.
Asian kid? Which
It's
Asian
like Kenna
kid?
get bandy at one point, but I don't know why.
Can I get back? It looks like.
That Asian kid? What Asian kid?
What did you do?
What did I
don't
do?
know.
That
Why
was
did
the
the
guy.
bans link to the
This
post?
guy
Why did they
fucking.
viewing?
This guy does like 7-port Banshee and 1 fucking base. It blew my fucking mind. He fucking cheesed the fuck out of me. I was so mad. On Shakura's plateau, he spawned top left, I spawned bottom right. Fucking, I go to scout his base late. I accidentally built a third hatch earlier. It was a dumb game on my part. I scouted shit. He's got like 7 fucking starports of Banshees like raining shit on my base. I was so fucking raged. And I was like, I remember it well because it was a huge fucking moment in my life. There was so much bullshit over this.
It was a
And I remember-
huge moment.
And I remember
Life?
typing some shit. I was like, "Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit." And then he typed in like the Korean GG. It was like, "You're not a fucking Korean," and I call him fucking bad names and shit. And then he fucking makes. And then he's like the fucking Chinese ambassador. To
Chinese
fucking
Korean?
Canadian-
He's Chinese?
The Canadian-China relations, and he gets on Team Liquid. He writes like the most eloquent post about how Destiny should be banned from gaming for calling people bad names, and he's like fucking like Hotbid's brother or some shit. So like Hotbid is like authorized the thread to say up to my career is fucking melting in flames. Fuck that. Fuck everything about that. Oh man, what an ordeal. But I mean, I probably
Oh my god.
Fuck, I'm done.
whatever.
That's
It's like a watershed moment in your life.
Oh my, you remember it so vividly. Holy shit.
Yeah, fuck all of that.
Oh god.
Oh man.
I might have a 6-pack after that.
God, where's fucking Combat X when I need him? Jeez.
I know.
man, that's
Let's
so
get
legit.
Combat X on, man.
It's a good journey.
We've got it.
All right, how many times did you ban Combat X, Heyoka?
I don't know if I ever banned Combat X.
What?
Well,
Combat
he was,
X
like,
was
The 10
actually-
times,
Arm-
man?
He was actually
He was-
sort of before my time. Yeah, he first got banned.
Before your
Yeah,
time, really?
yeah. Like when Combat X was getting banned, I was like like a low level staff at that point. I had never like. Oh, actually, it looks like he got finally banned in 2011. I don't know why it wasn't me. He registered a new account called BM as fuck after he got banned.
Oh man.
Then he registered
What about
Combat
D-
X rules.
Did Deezer ever get banned?
Hey, Daddy. Probably.
Deezer follows me on Instagram, and it's fucking really weird, man.
What
he had to
happened to
post
Deezer?
Dude, he was
I don't
League of
know.
Legend in it for a while,
Oh,
right?
Deezer got a lot of posts actually. Wow, he didn't get banned.
I don't know about him. I feel kind of bad. I'm just seeing him live and shit. I kind of wonder if there's like
What?
actual problems. And now I feel bad.
Oh my god.
Well, like, what? As in, like, you think he's got like health problems or
Or
something?
mental issues, or
Like he's somewhere on the autism spectrum, like next to XJ9 or something. I don't know. There's like something.
That's a drink, boys.
have a
I don't know.
drink, boys,
It's
that's
here's one of
true.
these things that if you're
scale?
not qualified to judge, what if someone's just interesting?
Interesting.
We
That's the
haven't
key
got the
word.
qualifications.
That's the key
That's
word
all I'm gonna
today.
say.
Interesting.
You know, like you might talk to someone, you might think, "Fuck, you're weird," like, but you haven't got the,
right.
wherewithal and the qualifications to be able to label somebody, as Stephen often does, as being on the autistic spectrum. Maybe they're
I mean,
just eccentric.
I've dealt with so many autistic people in the history of my streaming. I think at this point I'm an expert. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean that. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Wow. I would actually
It's
say
like one of those
you
things,
could
you
be
know how,
one
like-
of the leading experts.
You know how
on
like
it.
you see some self-made businessmen that are like you go in and like you're fresh out of college and you're like I don't think this works, and the guy's like, you know what, dog, you might have gotten your degree in school, but I got my degree on the streets. Okay, I got my degree building
Street
business.
smarts.
That's like me. Where like the therapist would be like, it's my PhD in like mental health disorders. I'm not sure. I would be like, like I have my PhD in mental disorder. I got that on the streets,
Yeah, man.
right?
I got that on the
stream.
I got a Twitter.
Listen, man, I use Live Broadcaster, okay? I use fucking Japanese encoders on Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder. No one even fucking heard of before. There's no documentation of shit, okay? We were in the wild west of the internet. There's all sorts of cretin
I use the
that
Adobe
exist
encoder. Shit.
that exist in this arena that no one has ever documented. There are no case studies on people like Deezer or fucking XJ9. Holy shit. I mean, there are, but...
Those are the days. I miss those days.
I do miss those days.
Which ones?
Do you remember when Combat X actually did well at WCG? He took a game off parting.
Oh,
I remember that.
Yeah. Last year, man.
That wasn't that long ago.
Listen,
It was
If Combat
last year,
X-
man. It was
2012, I
last year.
think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
if Combat
Yeah.
X would have won like major tournaments, that would have been the best thing for the NAC. Can you imagine the 250,000 people that would tune in to see Combat X like Koreans?
Well, his
Can you
match.
imagine how many
his-
Kespa penalties he would get, like going to fucking GSL, like fucking typing? Because he would talk shit in the match. You know he would do it, right? You're shit, MVP. What the fuck? Like he would do it in the fucking match. It would be amazing. It would be so amazing.
He even had decent games against Scarlet too, right? Or was that a
think
different
so.
event? That was a
I
different
think
event.
it was
can't
that same
remember.
WCG.
Yeah, he did
He
well.
went pretty far.
Yeah, that was when he was like taking shit seriously though. He
Right,
wasn't
yeah.
the Combat X we know talking
I
shit.
He never
you wanna,
played-
You wanna. Here's what I think fucking actually killed the North American StarCraft scene. I think fucking wannabe cool killed StarCraft.
Be cool.
Dude, I think
You
fucking
wanna-
wannabe cool as a
You mean
fucking
wanna build
sing-
cannons? Wanna build cannons?
I think he was the single fucking person that killed North American StarCraft, man. He'd show up, he'd get far enough into a tournament, and he would fucking cannon rush 2 times in a row versus a person who was fucking a jillion times better than him. And I think they all fucking got back on their fucking Asiana plane, sitting next to one another, and they were like, what happened to this fucking guy, man? Is this what North America's all about? Because he beat all the North Americans with that shit, too. I think it was fucking wannabe cool, and I think he fucking is solely responsible for StarCraft dying in North America,
That's
man.
how Coach Park got knocked out of his
that
MLB.
is. That is. Oh my
He got
god,
head
that's so
run, man.
funny.
It was
It
Bubbles,
PPG
yes.
Bubbles,
It was
wasn't it?
Bubbles.
No one told him that he needs
Yeah.
to scout against Bubbles, and he fucking cannon rushed him and beat him.
Oh, that was so
There
funny.
could have been so much shit that would have come from that. Oh my god.
That was hilarious, actually.
One thing that people don't remember, we missed very close one of the scariest moments in StarCraft 3 history, where Adria almost committed suicide. Does anybody remember this? Where Adria was on the verge of killing himself? It was when he was playing Boxer at MLG, and he was
I
up
was there.
3-0, and Boxer
was
reversed
there.
3-0'd.
Oh,
and
yeah.
almost
I was
killed
there
him.
for that one live,
Oh
actually.
my
Did you notice
god.
that one of the documentaries actually has audio from when Alex Garfield is in the booth before
Yeah.
Game 7, telling him to get his shit together? He's just like yelling at him. It's great.
Yo, he
And
was
then
actually yelling at him. Oh, dude,
Yeah, he
Alex,
just goes like,
in that one,
"If you don't fucking believe you can win, you shouldn't be here."
in that one documentary, he says that he was like calmly. He was, Alex was.
Yeah, there's
Talking
actual
to
footage in
Greg.
another documentary that has
He was
audio
saying,
from that.
I just told Greg that, if you're in this position where there's a lot of people watching you, and you can, if you win here, that would just be amazing. So apparently he was like yelling the entire time. Seriously?
I don't know if he yelled the
What?
entire
For
time.
real, dude.
Oh
Definitely
my
raised his
god.
voice
Okay.
during
I think yelling was helping, but like the second documentary, Greg just says, you're not helping.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
But then, like, it was like that was and Alex is my boy, man. Like, I love Alex, but like, that was like such an awesome picture, right? It's just like Alex Garfield wanders into the booth, blah 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 happens, and then like when you hear the sound clip and Greg's like, you're not really fucking helping. And then Greg just kind of like fucking muscles through and holds it all together. It's just
Well, after you know what it was is Boxer didn't make like 10 Hellions like he did the previous 3 games.
No,
he decided
tried
not
the
to that
last
game.
map was the last map was
That's
on
what it
that
was.
map that had the different colored spawns in the bottom left and the top right. It had the golds in the
Oh, the
corners,
dual
right?
sight.
Dual
Yeah.
sight, yeah.
Dual sight.
I'm
Oh my
positive.
god.
And he did
Yeah.
try Blue Flame Hellion shenaniganry, but I don't think it worked. No. Blue. Yeah, it was Blue Flame. But
Was
it
that,
did.
yeah, that was the one that used it, right?
Blue frame.
Yes. Sorry,
Anaheim.
Blue
Flame.
Flame.
Anaheim. Here.
Anyone else? Is there anyone else remember
like a
Calamosis?
CS:GO skin you can buy for your Hellions. You get blue frame.
Like, just talking about Greg, right? Like, and killing himself. Every time I ever came across Greg at a tournament, he always seemed like that. Like, seriously, when he was still in the tournament, he always seemed miserable. I have never seen a StarCraft competitor struggle with the tournament environment. Like, with the exception of Naniwar, actually. Like, Greg was right.
If you talk to him like outside of games or whatever, he seemed like he was always.
So that's what I mean. So okay, so even at like a fucking Home Story Cup, I bumped into Greg. Like, I mean, like I never knew like which Greg I was gonna get. Like every time we did an interview or anything with each other or an attempt, because I interviewed him in 2011, I think it was, and he was like the most super nice, polite guy. Like, yes, let's do this, and perhaps the stage would be better. He was like helpful, you know, like you know, perhaps here, like on an oh yeah, cool, okay, we'll do it wherever you want, Greg. This is awesome. I'm just so happy to be talking to you. And then when I went to do an interview with him at I think it was an IEM, one of my photographers took a photo of him and it had the flash on, and he went mental about that. Serious, he went mental. Said it was the rudest thing that had ever happened to him in his professional gaming career. And which I find very hard to believe, but maybe he's right. And he'd already strung us along, saying, "I'll do an interview, I'll do an interview, I'll do an interview," and he was like already out the tournament by this point, I think, and he was just practicing. And we tried to get it, and I don't know. He said because we flash photographied him, it was a no-go. And I was like, really?
I've blamed people before, maybe even your staff. For shit like flash photography during games.
Dude, he may have had a point, but I think like you just turn around and you say, "Look, dude," like he was only playing ladder at the time, but maybe you say, "Dude, turn your fucking flash off," and that's probably the end of it. Like Tank in the interview, I thought was a little bit fucked. So we went away from that event with a bad feeling about Greg, and then I tried to get him at a Home Story Cup he was at, and I was like, "We can do an interview." He's like, "Yeah, we can." Maybe totally do one. And then he got really pissed off because he didn't do too well at the event, and then it was like no interviews, and I was like, fuck, dude. But then I saw him in the drinking afterwards, and everyone who's been to a Home Story Cup knows, holy fucking shit, do we like to drink.
You mean they only drink afterwards?
Yeah, well, you know, we
what
drink,
a surprise, man.
We really drink afterwards. So I saw everyone else was just being a real asshole, like, because obviously it's in Take's house, right? And everyone was just helping themselves to food out the fridge, beers out the cellar, spirits off the shelves. And Greg was the one guy that was like saying, "Come on, guys, we're in somebody's house. Let's act respectful." And he went up to Dennis and went, "I was hoping I could maybe drink some of this." And he took a spirit down, like a bottle of spirits, and he went, "I was hoping I could drink some of this. Is that okay with you?" And Dennis went, "Yeah, just help yourself. Everyone else is." And he went, "No, but is it okay?" And Dennis went, "Yeah." And I was like watching this and thinking, how's this like super polite, nice guy the same asshole that everyone talks about online?
It's weird. He switches it on and off, man.
It's so
all right. We need a Greg story, Cody. Come on.
I saw him tell someone to kill themselves recently.
Truth be told, I've told Greg literally almost fucking fought Chris once. I've told that story.
Yeah, you told that story already. We've already heard that one. We need a new one. We need a new one.
I'm gonna try and figure this out. While I'm trying to figure it out, Greg is my second favorite StarCraft player of all time, behind DeMuslim. DeMuslim and I have like a very close personal friendship. Like he's a true homie, but Greg is right behind that, I think. Greg's story, man, fucking.
Did you notice that we're back to classic Greg now that he's playing Heroes and like streaming it and stuff?
Oh, is he? I haven't even watched any.
Yeah,
dude,
he plays, he'll like cue himself playing a pub, and then he'll like tell his opponent his because you know you can't talk to the other team, but you can talk to your team. And if there's a random guy, like if he queues with 3 people or 4 people, so there's just some random dude, and that guy like makes a mistake, he'll just tell them like they're the worst player ever and they should kill themselves, and he hopes they die and stuff. It's straight back to 2011 Greg. It's awesome.
Awesome.
So I don't have anything.
Team Liquid advocating.
This is pre EG, man. But like this is like when I knew Greg and I were going to be close friends. So I don't know how many of you are deep enough in StarCraft to remember Lazarus Gaming.
I remember Lazarus Gaming. Oh my god.
The ill-fated Lazarus Gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's MLG Dallas, maybe 2011.
Game user was on that team.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone who wasn't playing in the finals had washed out by like 11 a.m. Sunday. We just go get fucking shredded, at some taqueria that's like fucking the nearest place near the convention center that'll serve alcohol. Me and Greg sneak a couple of bottles of wine into MLG, and we're just getting shredded. And like this is before like Adam Apicella didn't even fucking know us, didn't care about us. Sundance is like fucking over there watching, you know, these guys binoculars on watching the Halo tournament. He didn't give a fuck about StarCraft. He didn't know it was going to be part of his business. But that was the day that I knew fucking big old flamer Greg was going to be a true homie when he helps me sneak some wine into MLG in our backpack. So shout out to Greg, because that's some fucking real cool kid shit that we did back then. Back with big old Lazarus Gaming, who sponsored Pain User,
HD StarCraft.
HD.
Yeah, all the
HD.
other real
StarCraft was on
stars.
that team.
All the other real
HD.
stars, man. So yeah, I have nothing but love for Greg, because Greg was fucking...
They were Inca's home after he left EG.
It was like high school, man. He was like, yeah, you could get it in your backpack. They won't look at your backpack. They won't look. And I can't even remember. It was like a Kiwi Kaki versus some other Protoss. And we're like
Naniwa?
literally sneaking. It might have been Naniwa, I guess.
It was the finals. It was the finals. And...
Oh, Kiwi
Yeah.
Kaki. I miss Kiwi Kaki
Right.
too, man.
I gotta ask though, dude. Right, seriously, a lot of people who were looking at EG from the outside in, you know, like we were like, why did EG keep Idra on board? And you're one of the few guys that's maybe going to give us some sort of insight into that, because, like,
Why did EG keep Idra on board?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
we
an
were
easy one.
the
feel
ROI
like-
until like there was
I would disagree.
one
I
moment.
don't
there
think
was
necessarily it is
there
that
was
easy.
one moment where the ROI seriously just it
Tanked.
became, yeah, it was, and that was the moment he was let go. It was crazy, and like everyone thinks that like it was this weird fucking like we just like turned on him like this. Like it was nuts, man. Alex Garfield and I were on a train to look at a house out in like the East Bay. The Bay Area is like pretty big, so it was like a 1-hour train ride. And we talked about it back and forth, man. That was not a decision that was made lightly. It was just, you know, that was the fucking, he had just crossed the line. That was the line. And
Yeah, but it didn't. It felt like it was so. I mean, did y'all get letters from the sponsors immediately?
Yeah, this is what I mean.
Because
It
you know, I
didn't
mean, you said the
actually-
ROI
yeah,
just
that
tanked.
was the
I mean, you
point.
have to like. Did the sponsors tell you have to fire this guy?
man, I can't
Come on,
even
Cody.
looking back on
Because
it.
it's like-
there had been external pressure for sure. I can't remember who wrote who. Like the 24 hours immediately after seeing that, we just knew that it was too much. We all thought about it. We thought about like sort of like what sleight of hand was possible to make that shit happen. Because everyone thinks really highly of Greg. Like
Your
Alex
fingers
still
were just
tweets
like
at Greg,
slipping
but
on the keyboard.
yeah, I mean, you know, we've
Come on,
there
Cody.
was some magic mystery bus shit that we did with Stefano in the past, but like there was just there was we just like
1 month ban.
yeah,
Kind of,
exactly.
but not
It's
really,
like,
'cause he
it's
still
not
played in
getting
things.
paid. Not getting paid. Yeah, there was definitely. I mean, like, well, this team league broadcast after the 1 month ban, so I mean, he can play in it as long as it's after the 1 month broadcast. But yeah, it was just one of those things.
Him as Orb.
He was not blown. He was not blown away too when that happened. But it was really fucked, man, because I really liked Greg. Alex really liked Greg.
We all like.
EG, one of the things that like a lot of people forget is like EG has been a really big staple in esports, but people now forget how StarCraft was very good to Evil Geniuses as a brand. Like, yeah, StarCraft was really, really
Insanely
important
good.
to EG. Yeah,
Yeah.
being where it is. You know, and we see brands like Cloud9 right now. Like, I just think Cloud9 is fucking knocking it out of the park, especially with some of the acquisitions that they've made.
Dude.
Yeah, they're having their
CS:GO
Evil
pickup?
Geniuses.
Incredible.
Yes, it was insane. So Cloud9 is having the Evil Geniuses moment that Evil Geniuses had in 2000.
It actually makes me really sad that you like. I've had this conversation happen with a handful of people where they're like, "Oh wow, I didn't know Evil Genius is in an SC2 team," because I always think of like that's how
What?
that's sort of how I stumbled on EG, but I kind of knew who they were, but not really because I wasn't in a part of Counter Strike or anything. Their old
Yeah.
Dota team before Dota 2.
Are people like that with TL now? I didn't know TL has a StarCraft 2 team.
Maybe.
Wait, they still do?
Now that Amos is like kicking ass, man. You know, it's like.
Yeah,
They don't win
this is
every
what I mean.
tournament like Amos does, but
It's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But like, I mean, look, I know Greg doesn't think very highly of me. Like, I always thought Greg was like, it was really weird because I remember writing a piece after Greg got kicked, and I was like, when you say to the fans, like, I get paid to basically call you wankers, assholes, whatever. I think once you get to that stage, like, people aren't gonna fucking touch you. But like, Greg had actually rode and skirted a lot of kind of controversies before that, and his inherent value had always carried him through.
We were supposed to have Greg on here. Shit.
Yeah, I know, and he always wanted to come on and do a show with me.
What happened with that? Shit.
But like, seriously, I always looked at that. He was really, really talented as a player. Like, it's got to be said. Like, I look at like what Jeff's done at EG and how he's transitioned himself into the role of being the EG spokesperson, and it's really fucked up because Greg is like probably the most talented player from North America they had on the roster, and he could have,
for sure.
For sure, and he could have transitioned into a role like what Greg did. Greg just had a bit more. I'm sorry, not Greg. Jeff had a bit more wherewithal in terms of how to be a diplomat and how to represent a brand, and it's a shame that Greg never really.
I think
he did some casting.
I think
Jeff
people really liked his casting. It's just it's at a
No.
It's at a time. It's at
The problem with what Greg was with Greg, I say problem, but I don't think Greg has the same. And none of these are like necessarily good or bad, but Greg did not have the that independent like go get 'em attitude to like actually go out and like build himself up like really big on his own.
Yeah, but that's why he joined Gem.
Greg needed to be paired with Jeff for sure, especially in their casting things. But I will
for sure.
On the record, because it's fucking Channy's last show, Benny was my favorite StarCraft player just because we had such a very close. He stayed at my house. Like, we just got along on a certain level. That happens, right? Like, everyone has personal friends. But Greg was like, man, even when shit hit the fan at the very end, like he was the most agreeable person. His expectations about what was and wasn't professional was oftentimes the most realistic. I think he just had one fucking forum post, man, that just I don't know. Because when you're a professional gamer, the knife is against your throat all the time, and then I think Greg just overestimated
the forum
how
post
far he could
combined
walk.
with conceding that game the night before where he was winning and he just like left.
Yeah. He had that issue with the live too. That was a live, right?
Yeah, but also combined with the context of him generally fading over the past, like several months. I mean, like, all of it kind of led up to, like, if he would have did that, if he would have tried to pull that off in his prime, I think it would have slipped by, just like Stefan.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, like, okay, you only have to look at Naniwa to look at how much he got away with. Like, talent can sometimes carry you through. In the Greg situation, you're absolutely right. I think the fact he'd faded a little bit really...
Well, he was miserable. He was miserable.
Yeah.
I mean,
and let's be honest, it really showed he wasn't having a good time anymore.
Yeah.
I think it was a blessing in disguise. It's really fucked up because we should all now be talking about like, he had a terrible time as a player towards the end, but holy shit, what a caster. And we're not talking about that. And like, he could have been that guy. Like, seriously.
He still. I mean, it just came at. It's just bad timing for Greg. I mean, a lot of people. No. Listen. There's a lot of There's a lot of people. No, listen up. There's a lot of people that liked his casting. It's just that whole ordeal happened at a point. Where we're talking about transitioning to a caster, right? That happened at a point where like everybody was basically hired. I mean, even like Todd, I think, was already starting to get gigs.
Dude.
For.
I'm gonna tell you this straight off the bat, right? That this is from talking to industry people, not just
Red-Eye
fans.
loved Idra. Red-Eye
Dude,
loved
that's
Greg.
what I'm talking about, right?
Dude.
So he's one of the guys. But like, there was so many people in the industry who were like, "Holy fucking shit! Who knew? Like, who knew that this guy was gonna be as good as what he was? Like, we all knew he could offer opinions and could be good on camera. That goes without saying. You're in EG, you get groomed into that lifestyle." Greg, though, was just a legitimately good fucking StarCraft caster, like, seriously. And not only that, though, he opened up elements of that. Like, I'm a casual, everyone knows that. Like, my knowledge of StarCraft is disgustingly poor. But I could listen to Greg and really understand what he was talking about. So, he should have been one of the next big casting names. I just don't think he had the stomach for it.
Did he enjoy casting?
Yeah,
I never spoke to him.
I think he did.
I got the impression he didn't really like it, but I don't know where I got that idea.
I mean,
he made like a tweet about how it didn't pay enough or something.
I think he liked getting paid for it. Like, he liked the money, but the casting itself was just Like,
it wasn't like playing, you know. It's like
about it.
I mean, even like
problem,
Artosis, right? It said
the
like,
biggest problem with Greg is that Greg had the like if you look at oh boy, I'm gonna jerk myself off. Like, if you look at all the things that I'm doing in terms of like trying to monetize my fan base and in trying to like keep my shit like in terms of like I am securing a very big position for me to make money, right? I got like all of my different shit set up so that I can collect money via my Amazon affiliate sponsors, my website, my personal subscriptions, all of that. I do that very well, more so than most people that do streaming. Greg, if he would have put like even like a fifth of the effort into his stuff as I did mine, he would still be streaming 100%. The problem is that he was getting easy checks from Twitch because the ad revenue was great, and he was getting easy checks from EG, and he never worked on building himself up personally because he had a huge fucking fan base. Like, if he would have played it right, if he would have you know, like, fostered that community and his fan base better or really at all, he could be doing like the Heroes thing right now with like at least like 4,000 or 5,000 viewers, not like the couple dozen or maybe the couple hundred, if that watch on MLG TV. I think that he squandered his opportunity to foster that fan base really hard, and that's really sad for me to see, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, he could have done better, and I mean, he was, I think. He was part of Gem at the time, right? I mean, it's not like he didn't have an agent at the time. He could have.
Because Gem doesn't.
What Gem's been doing for Richard, they could have at least helped Idra out with.
Well,
in that regard,
there's been some issues there, not in terms of Gem, but I mean, like, okay, so like everyone made the joke about how you sign on, you get the thermal take sponsorship. I mean. That's
true. He was that kind of fell through for him or something like that.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, Greg really got fucked by that, and I think very soon people are gonna realize like how bad that was. I mean, I don't know if I can talk about it or not. You know me, like I won't. I won't be filtered. But yeah, seriously, like Thermal Take have got a lot of shit to answer for, and they're gonna answer for it real fucking soon. Greg, on the other hand, though, I think like it's not like he was out of his depth. It was just a change, dude. Like, it was just something a little bit different for him, and I think like when you have an agent, when you're being managed by a talent group, you still have to do the work yourself effectively. Like, I had to create all of my stuff, my podcast, and tell my agent about it. Like, how can we monetize this? How can we do this? Everything I do, it's like I do it. And it wasn't a case of having like an esports manager, a gaming manager come to me and be like, okay, this is what we do today. If you don't do it, you're out. You know? And I think when you have those very two different motivations, you know, things can be difficult to transition into new roles. And I think that's what Greg discovered. I'm not saying he's lazy. That's absolutely the last thing I'd label him as, but
it's not a matter of being lazy. It's just a matter that like being self-employed to some extent is the dream, but there are certain this sounds really elitist, but there are certain people who are better off to just go to work and clock in every day and then like just to make your money that way. Because if you want to do the self-employed thing, like you're constantly like you have to go out and find your money. No one is going to give it to you for punching in on a time card. You know, you have to be willing to, you know, like in my terms, it's putting in the work for the website or getting the people to do the website, monitoring, you know, that, getting all the different, like you have to go out and do it. It's not just like, and I say like in terms of Idra, you get the check from EG, you get the check from Twitch, and there's no work that has to go into like collecting your money there. To go from getting those two easy checks to getting kicked from EG while the Twitch ad revenue is fucking garbage and all of the easy money is gone, that he wasn't in a position to put down all of the groundwork needed right then and there in order to
I know this on a domestic level. Like my missus, okay, like with her line of work, she's entitled to like, I don't know, 1 or 2 days where she can go, I can just work from home. Okay, and like I know lots of people are gonna make the joke that it's because you're in the house, but she won't do that. She's got the day off. and she'll just be like, you know what, I got to go into work, or I won't do any work. And when you're self-employed, like a lot of people in esports are, it's literally, you've got to get up and you've got to have that drive, you know. Like I get up and I fucking you know, early doors, I treat it like a job. I punch a clock, I sit here, right here where you're watching, and I work and I type and I grind away, and then it gets super late, like it's 5 a.m. here and I'm still doing the esports thing. It's not for everybody, and sometimes you need a manager to tell you, like, oh, if you don't do this, you're fucked. Sometimes you need an agent to tell you, if you do this, you'll make $1 million. And if you have neither of those things, or you feel adrift and you're trying to do it yourself, it can be very demotivating. You can feel adrift. And I think Greg is a great broadcasting talent that has been criminally left to be adrift. Like the idea of him streaming fucking, you know, Heroes to 200 people, it's just criminal,
it's
dude.
impossible. Like, yeah.
It's almost like he went to
the
a
fan base that he
super.
had.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I said, yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, it's pretty.
And I'm saying that
it's a tragedy, actually.
He fucking hates me, like with a passion, and has always wanted to do a show together, just so he can.
I don't know why we
save
never
my
did
face.
one. God.
Yeah, I know. I think mainly because I pussied out and said I don't want to do it. Maybe I think maybe that. Actually...
I think maybe.
But
I
I
think
yell
maybe
at you.
Greg said he didn't have anything to really talk about, but he wanted to. There was a moment I
Yeah.
remember, like Greg absolutely wanted to come on Unfiltered, and we were like scheduling it. I don't even remember what happened though.
No, but I'm pretty sure I remember at that point saying, you know what, like if Greg comes on, like just leave me out of it, man, because it'll
Really?
suck. And yeah, I'm
No
pretty sure I
way.
did.
There's no way you would say that. There's no way.
No, look, here's the thing. Like, it's really weird. Like, okay, so with a wolf, it's really easy to do a confrontational segment 'cause I don't respect the guy. I just
yeah.
don't. So no, but so it's easy. It's easy, isn't it? You bring him on, and he goes, "Oh, I was drunk," and I go, "You're a prick," and it's awkward, and then we just get through it. With Greg, it's like I respect the guy, okay, but he doesn't like me, and I don't like some of the things he's done and said. We enter this weird twilight zone, and I'm pretty sure I recused myself from that show. I was like, "Fuck this,
Excuse yourself.
I'm out." It will suck for everybody. I'm pretty sure, but I'd love him to just, I don't know, be a bit more high profile, like to have that second. I do feel like StarCraft lost a big part of its soul. Like, you know, it's not
But
like
NA scene did
Stefano.
for sure.
Yeah,
NA
yeah,
scene did
totally.
For sure.
It's not like Stefano, because here's the thing, like Stefano, A, when he retired, he didn't really retire, but B, he was never about being an on-camera personality. He was always a bit elusive like that. It was just his sheer rock and roll. It was almost like the mythology around him. Like Greg, on the other hand, literally was a huge part of the NA StarCraft scene, and was on camera, was visible, would talk, would express his opinion, was one of the few people who had the balls to do that. And when he retired, like, NA StarCraft took a massive hit, like whether, well, when I say retired, he didn't retire. He was kicked from EG, and they probably made the right decision to do it. And we've all said, like, he wasn't happy. It was the total best thing to do. We all remember the JD interview and all that, JP interview, sorry. I don't know, dude. I still miss the guy. I still think there's room for him at the table. I hope he comes back.
Well, he'll come back in the form of Heroes of Storm.
I think he's really an icon. Yeah.
Oh,
The
definitely
issue is,
icon.
like,
Yeah.
Is Hero? I think his presence supersedes Heroes of the Storm right now. I think.
Hey, his
Right
team
now, there
his team
isn't
is really good too.
Yeah, his team, and like we all laugh.
Isn't
There's
Steven on
there's
the
no
team?
fucking matchmaking. Like, Jesus
What?
Christ.
Aren't you
Oh,
Oh,
part
there's
of...
no custom games.
Greg's
There's
team?
matchmaking.
I thought you were part of Greg's team, dude.
Well, there's
They
matchmaking.
played, but not like on their official team or anything.
Two
LZ Gamers on it.
two high level parties are required. Like, you gotta, two high level parties have to queue at the same time. And
Yeah, what they do is
pray
to
to
do
God.
scrims and stuff, and to run tournaments, because, you know, there's actual tournaments that are broadcasting now. Diamond has one. What they do is they schedule like 2-hour blocks for the games so that they have time if they queue and they don't hit each other. It's really hilarious too, because custom games are actually in the game. They're implemented. They're fully working. They were taken out like 6 months ago because Blizzard decided they didn't want people using them because they didn't want them to play tournaments.
Oh, really?
That was their official
That's
response.
so lame. Why would you
Wait,
not want
Blizzard's
people...
official response.
Gosh.
When they removed them, they said like, the game isn't an alpha. We don't want people competing in it right now. We'll add them back
Wait.
later or whatever.
Well, what-
Jeez.
Weren't there Hearthstone tournaments when it was in
Yes, there were Hearthstone tournaments when it was in beta.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Hearthstone's still. I mean, like even Hearthstone, who's doing relatively well as an esport right now, it has no spectator mode. It's still a pain in the dick.
Dude, it's a pain in the
these-
dick, but it happens still.
Yeah, well, I
Chris
mean,
knows
like
firsthand.
That's right.
the moral of the story is all of Blizzard esports right now fucking does do very well despite themselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's great that these people are willing to sink their teeth into something and fucking grind it out. But like, okay, StarCraft has been shitting the bed since 2013. I got about 3/4 of beer left, so let's go in on it.
Okay,
Let's
dude.
start
I
the
want to see
fucking-
some.
Alright,
I want to
alright.
see some. Wait, no. I want to see some Nanny Wah log you're freaking talking about, Cody.
No, I'm not gonna do Naniwa quite yet, but Naniwa's the
Oh,
fucking
that's-
worst. But
What? You just said
Nanny
this
Wise-
shit.
The
yeah,
best.
we're not there yet. But like, let's start with StarCraft shitting the bed. 2013, pre 2000, pre WCS 2013. We have really intelligent people that I genuinely respect, called in for a conference to weigh in
We just.
on WCS, right? You got like folks like Mike, who's not even working for DreamHack yet. Hellspawn, who I think is a very intelligent person. You have
Owners.
Russell from NASL, who is
Like Sean. I remember Sean got
smart
involved
enough. Alex Garfield representing some of the teams. You have Nazgul representing some of the teams. They bring in this coalition, and then they fucking
Don't do anything.
WCS 2000. Yeah, exactly. Like these collective minds attribute nothing. I think that's a shit show. I think that's the worst thing that ever happened to StarCraft.
The thing that's super depressing about it is you have these conversations with Blizzard, and they give you these PR lines that are like, yeah, we understand, we're listening, we agree with you on points A, B, and C, and these are things we're going to change. And you go, okay, maybe they'll do something this time. And then 6 months down the road, nothing has changed. They haven't said anything. It's exactly the same as it was. And it's like,
Well, the scapegoat is those people aren't there now. Right?
Itzik is
Oh
gone.
yeah, the people that you
Itzik is
originally
gone.
agreed to this with aren't here anymore.
Itzik is gone.
Itzik
right?
is gone.
I mean,
but-
but
everybody-
even on smaller stuff, it still keeps happening. Like stuff about when they talk about like UI improvements or even like rotating the maps in WCS, like that stuff comes up, and it's comes up since Itzik. It's still kind of the same thing where it's like, oh yeah, we agree, this is something we should change, and then nothing happens.
There's a joke that goes around like that we live in a post-Itzik world, in the same way that Americans refer to politics like we live in like a post-racial world, and it's just so embarrassing, man, for StarCraft. The one thing that StarCraft does have going for it is the #1 dueling game left in the world. It's the #1 1v1 game there is. And I think that's where they really need to like hunker down and buckle into. But it's just, StarCraft is so fucked. I love StarCraft because like my career is predicated on StarCraft. But man, like what a fucking joke.
Whoa.
Honestly, like
Whoa! Wow.
mean,
Okay.
I'm being
I
absolutely
think there's actually
honest,
kind of a
man.
silver
Like
lining. The thing with esports though is luckily we live in a world where like if Blizzard started to do things differently today, and maybe they are, I don't know, maybe WCS is changing, I have no idea, but if they change things today, there's still a pretty long road where they could turn it back within the next 2 years. CSGO
Yeah.
is totally dead. Years ago people told me it would never be big. Valve was too ignorant to do
True.
it correctly. The game
Yeah.
sucked. Every part of it was terrible. You look now, it's actually pretty good. Like it could actually still turn around and still be okay.
I-
It could
I
turn
never
around, but
tried
it'll
to
take.
as
We'll have to
well.
wait for Legacy of the Void, which is like another
2 years probably.
another year.
Yeah,
at
but even if they
least.
like
I mean,
the changes, like I actually need to put my camera up because I've got a huge fucking boner even thinking about it. Can you imagine like fucking like implementing the like if they would just completely rip the idea off of those CS:GO boxes or whatever, you could get like ultra rare fucking skins or whatever for like your fucking zealots or your ultras or some shit. Jesus fuck, that would be so fucking awesome.
There's a ton
There'd
of
be
stuff you could do that's not that
There's
difficult.
so much fucking awesome shit like, and people would actually fucking play the ladder just to get like those sick as fuck skins for like
Do
the
you want to know
2v2s or
what's
3v3s.
really crazy though?
Oh,
I
God.
think we will see ideas like that implemented by Blizzard. I just don't think it's going to be in StarCraft.
Oh,
Whenever
don't
I've
even
talked-
say that.
I'm
No,
gonna
Actually, you wanna know
I'm
something
gonna
what
say
the
it.
chat said?
Whenever I've talked to Blizzard staff, they've talked about how Heroes of the Storm is gonna be their big esports push. Like seriously, they
What,
really
what they're
want
saying
that.
in public is that
People.
it's not. That they're not even thinking about it.
No,
right
no,
now
like
because
Shats
it's-
was
No,
telling
they-
me that
they
he's had
definitely
actual
are thinking
conversations
about it.
with the developers, and he said like, why don't you do X, Y, Z, and talking just about UI improvements, just purely UI, like things you could add to maps, like just the game interface itself, and the official response he got from them. This is something he said on a podcast that was on him like a week ago. Is they told him that they couldn't do it in StarCraft because they wanted to do it in Heroes of the Storm.
Maybe
You've
after
got to
they do it there,
understand.
they'll do it in StarCraft.
I
mean,
think you're
we hope
even
so.
going to potentially see, this might be me getting a bit ahead of myself and misreading the signals, but I think you might even see a WCS style model, like a refined version of that for Heroes of the Storm. Like seriously, I think they really want to
I
fucking
was
push it as
expecting
an
that
esport.
for Hearthstone.
No. Here's the thing. Like they're really super happy. I mean, like from what I understand, internally in Blizzard, they're super happy with the way Hearthstone's going. I don't think they're gonna fuck too much with the model, but like they literally want Heroes to be their esports game, and I
Why does it
on
have to
the
be
one
one
hand-
game? That's just kind of. It's just stupid.
yeah, no,
It's
I know.
because
That's-
Blizzard
we're all
still has
StarCraft
severe
purists,
butthurt.
man.
So Blizzard has severe butthurt because right now the number one esports game in the world as of 2010, StarCraft 2, got fucked by two spin-offs of a game that came out of the Star
what?
Warcraft engine.
Ice Frog was
So,
ripped
so, you,
from
so you're
their
gonna be
hands.
so,
now-
so you're gonna be
now-
late to the game, like in the
So
MOBA
now I
space,
have to
and
pour everything into the MOBA to
Oh,
show it's
God.
like their spiritual victory.
You showed up to the MOBA party late. I'm
Yeah,
with
it's like you're gonna
Steven.
show up
Yeah, you
late.
showed up
God,
way late.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
just-
definitely.
So here's the thing, right? We all know that, like, we're esports experts, right? And when I got wasted, where was it? Katowice, I think. I told the Blizzard guys, like, you are so late. Like, you are so late to the fucking MOBA party, you assholes. You don't know what you're doing. Like, seriously, it was fucking. God knows what they made of me. No wonder they didn't send me any.
Yeah, but
press
who are you
releases
talking
or
to? Who are you
anything.
talking to?
Well, I told you that one of the dudes was the dude with the long hair, and he was like the coolest guy
Oh,
ever.
Chris.
Like
Chris was
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
I
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
Siggity. Oh, you got a big
Siggity was
Siggity.
there. Oh my god.
yeah.
Okay.
So I met him. I went up to him and I was like, man, you look so cool. You look like some motherfucker from the Grateful Dead. And he was like, yeah.
He does.
Yeah, and,
He
and he
does.
went, yeah, I'm a really important Blizzard employee. And I was like, so I had to style it out at that point. I was like, give a fuck. And
I'm all in now.
yeah, because I was just all in.
You got a
So I was
posture.
like-
Yeah, he's in your
Yeah.
Oh my
your
God.
realm. You're not in his. Yeah, of course.
Exactly, right? So, because I was like, internally, I was
man.
thinking, fuck. But on the other hand, you've got to ride these things out. But he was there with his wife, I think. So I was like, okay, well, alcohol just fucking, alcohol's the great, papers over every crack. So I was like, you know what, dude? Because of your hair and nothing to do with the fact you're employed by Blizzard, I'm gonna buy you and your wife beers. Yeah. So I smoothed it over super awesomely. But we had a long talk. And it was a private conversation, so I don't want to go too much into it. But basically he asked me my opinions about Heroes, and I was like, dude, like, you're late to the party, all the shit we've just said. And he went, well, what if we had some big plans for it? And I was like, I don't give a fuck because you're late to the party. Like, seriously? Like, no one's going to care about big plans. Unless your plans are going to make the International and LCS seem like, piss in the swimming pool, then you haven't got big plans. And he was just like, well, we've got big plans. And he smiled and we drank our beers and that was the end of that. Then I talked to some other people about it, and seriously, Blizzard really think that Heroes is going to be a big esports game, and they're going to do everything they can to make it a big esports game.
I mean, I'm sure it'll have some success. It's just, I mean, why
Don't
not? Why
suicide
not
your
be in
other
a
games.
space where you're like the game in the RTS space? Like, there's nothing else. There's absolutely no competitors
I
in it.
agree with you, but
I
it's
say-
like,
I agree with
the
Chris.
The day we
Yeah,
all
what
commit
the fuck?
suicide, the day we all commit
Blizzard
suicide is
make
the day something.
good fucking games, with the exception of Diablo 3. they make good games.
And to be fair, Diablo 3 has gotten
Gotten
3
better.
is a totally different game now.
Yeah,
than
it's
it
gotten a
was
lot
at
better.
launch.
Yeah, I heard it's
done a
actually pretty good now.
lot of work. It's
Fuck
actually like a decent game now.
No, still
But,
fuck them. But they make good games, just not Diablo 3, but they make good games. So
Imagine
maybe...
a world. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so maybe this can work out, man. Like, maybe Blizzard can bend its will. I mean, like, holy shit, like, nobody expected StarCraft 2 when it first came out, I think, to be as successful as it was, and it's almost at the stage now where we're like...
Wait,
What are you talking about? No,
We definitely did.
StarCraft 2, there was huge expectations for StarCraft
Huge
2.
expectation, but I remember the purists. I'm not talking about the people who wanted to capitalize on it. I'm talking about the
No, I'm
purists.
talking about the purists, too.
Yeah, no. Fuck no.
The only people who thought StarCraft 2 wasn't any good were the butthurt Brood War fans who hated
Right,
it.
exactly.
Yeah,
but hang on.
That was a minor.
When those butthurt Brood War fans include Casper and the majority of Korea, I think it's kind of worth acknowledging that there was some people who were like, maybe we should hold back and we can drag Brood War up a little bit more. That actually happened. So you
But
can
in
say,
Korea they were right. In Korea they were right though.
Reality.
Yeah, but in Korea they were right.
And they
They
were.
went
And
to
that's
League of
what I'm
Legends
saying
Brood War.
now. So some people that want to predict trends and sort of tell Blizzard their business, just saying, like, here we are in 2014. Nobody predicted after the huge fucking meteoric rise that StarCraft 2 had, which caught some people off guard, and they're definitely not the people who wanted to capitalize on it off guard. But, you know, here we are now. Nobody expected StarCraft 2 to be in the state it is now with the whole dead game bullshit attached to it by 2014. People thought they were going to dine off that game for a decade, the same way you could have done off Brood War.
Yep, sure.
Right?
He's right,
and that's
though.
what I'm,
He's right there.
And that's what I'm saying. So, who's to say? Who's to judge? Maybe Blizzard can execute their plans. I think it's tragic that StarCraft isn't their fucking de facto front and center esports title. It's always going to be one of the premier esports titles to me, even a retard like me who doesn't understand the game. But maybe they've got these plans for Heroes of the Storm, and maybe they're going to execute them perfectly. I don't know. Like, my gut was to count it out and say it was bullshit and casual and it could never work. I'm not so sure anymore.
It's actually pretty fun to play, I think.
Teams
It's-
that
it is
work
fun
on the
to play,
games,
but
I
it's-
think the teams that work on the game deserve like a tip of the hat, and I think they do very well. I think that Blizzard's auxiliary teams have consistently been a tremendous fucking failure.
They have
I think
fallen way
Hearthstone.
behind.
I think even Hearthstone. So I'm gonna pull over on your
What?
fucking heartstrings.
What the
No,
fuck?
man. Like RDU's
Where's our
not gonna be able to
observer
fucking
interface?
play it. RDU's not gonna be. He can't play at BlizzCon.
Yeah,
I
he's like
think-
the best player in the world right now.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly. I think that's a
Um,
fucking tremendous failure. I think whatever crew sat around a circle and figured out WCS for the last couple of years should be ashamed of themselves.
The country
Well, I
thing,
mean,
the
like-
country thing, I don't know. I feel like there's some other issues. They're just not very transparent about it.
There's a lot of issues. That's the
Yeah.
problem. There's things big
Issue
and
in your
small that
last
are...
tournament where there's no drop down, where like a person who already has a qualifier spot.
Yeah, there's no
in
drop
your
down.
tournament, yeah, there's
Oh,
no
God.
drop down.
Don't even
that's
talk. Don't
pretty
talk to me.
pathetic.
It cost Brian
That's
Kibler a
pretty-
spot.
Poor
It, co-
Kibler.
it
Exactly.
cost
How
Kibler a spot in my
horrific-
tournament.
How horrific and short-sighted is that?
That
That's
would've been such a great
tremendously
story,
like-
I
too.
know. It's
Magic Hall of Famer goes to BlizzCon to play
Exactly.
Hearthstone.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's horrifically short-sighted. I also know that they, in 2013, assembled the entire Illuminati to come chime in and fucking weigh in on, like, what could make, like, the ultimate StarCraft league, and then fucking it was WCS 2013, which was the... I don't know.
The
That's
NASL
when- that's
season
when-
1.
It was bad. Yes, it was
Yeah.
bad. We all agree it was bad. So, oh god. Okay, well apparently
So I- so
Slasher's
creating
Slasher's
great games is,
Slasher's
like, the
trying to
first
help me
thing.
get Greg on here.
Oh shit,
Let's
is he
get
around?
Greggy's.
I've been messaging
Dude,
Greg, but he
Greg-
hasn't been on. But Rod said
You
he's texting him right now. So
I have Greg. Man, tell Rod to fuck off. Greggy.
Why didn't you text him like an hour ago?
I know shit, Cody. Come on, man. It's like Slasher
dude, he's my
has Slasher
boy.
has more like
Greggy.
insight than you do. All right, I'm getting some more beer. Hold on.
Be careful, don't.
Is Chris?
Don't fall over.
Is
They're
Chris
invisible.
actually drinking? Did that happen?
Yeah.
Chris...
He's drinking invisible beers. It's great.
Wow. The thing is, as well, like I remember at DreamHack. Okay. First thing he said to me when we were at the Twitch after party was like, "Rich man, whatever you do, don't get me fucked up, man, cause I'm Asian and it only takes 2 drinks." And that's what he said. So I was like, "Nah, dude, that's just a racial stereotype." He's going, "No, it's genetics, man. It's fucking genetics." And lo and behold, 2 beers later, that guy was fucked, dude. Like,
yeah, that happened
serious.
to Hoppit too. He has like 2 beers and his face gets super red.
Yeah, but I've got that though. I mean, but I think it's just a lighting issue or a heat issue or something. But,
Oh, we lost Cody too.
Where'd Cody go?
Chris.
Yeah.
No, he said he was ashamed
What?
of you and he just left.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, okay. He said something about you've disgraced your samurai family and then left.
Greg phone number just called me. This is what Slasher says. Tell Cody to do it. Greg's number
Slash
just
on the line,
called
too.
me, and it was a woman, so it's not him.
It wasn't Greg, huh?
Well, I mean, it's
Nah,
still
How do you know what he's
Greg.
doing in his off time?
You don't know what.
Unless-
I mean, he made a lot
unless-
of money in StarCraft too.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless he's had the surgery and is releasing a game about depression or something, and maybe.
It's been in the news
All
a
right,
lot.
so we
lately.
got to amend Greg and Richard Bridges. Where the fuck is
No, there's no bridges to mend as far as I'm concerned. Like he thinks, literally, this is the one time
Sean, man.
I've got nothing against Greg, man. Like serious, I've got nothing against the dude. Like it's crazy that he hates me as much as he does. But I think probably will be all right if we ever bump into each other again. Probably not like a wolf thing. Like totally like there's no. It's not a two-way thing. Like I've never disliked Greg. I've just called him out on some shit, and he's called me out on some shit. That's a healthy relationship. Holy shit, that's how I met Cody. That's how I met Steven. You know, everybody starts from a
What'd you say,
position
Cody?
of hate in esports.
What do you say, Cody?
Dude, Richard and I, literally,
Like-
it was New Year's Day, maybe. Richard and I have
What Greg said?
no, that number didn't work. But I thought you were asking about me and Richard. But yeah, me and Richard fucking do not.
I don't care about you,
prior
Richard.
to-
I don't care about
What
you.
are you
Richard.
talking
Okay.
about now?
Well,
Why is
Richard
that
was
such a
ramping
common
up
thread?
something.
Why does everyone
This
hate
good.
you?
This story's good because I was coming down. I think I'd done a bunch of coke. I can't remember what it was.
What?
And no, I can't remember what I'd
What?
taken.
Last
'cause it was New
episode,
Year's.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Go on,
New
Nate.
Year's.
I messaged him, and
Day?
the first thing he said was like, "Why the fuck do I want to talk to you?" And I was working on a new project at the time, and I was like, "Dude, I don't think you're so bad, I guess." And he was like, "I don't even want to fucking talk to you." So
Oh
maybe
my
he was,
God.
but anyway, I have a new phone number from Rod.
We're not even gonna
That,
talk about the
that was
good
the one
bit.
he called, and there was some
Why
girl
does
that
every
answered.
person in
Dude.
esports have the same story about how they
Dude,
hated
we
you
like-
when they first met you?
We like prank calling people now.
Reconcile.
Dude.
Dude, Richard's a really abrasive guy, but I'll
Same
call.
story with everyone.
Dude, are we gonna?
And when
are
I
we gonna
say
start
coke,
prank-
obviously I mean the soft drink. Like drugs are for losers.
are we gonna start prank
But I
calling
was
people
having
on this
I was
show?
having a super hard come down, and Cody just like reached out to me in this moment and said something like, this is how I remember it. He like reached out to me at like fucking literally, it was New Year's Day,
Oh my
6 a.m. or something, and he reached out to me and was like, "Do you want to make a documentary about your life?" And I was like on this come down, like, what the fuck is going on? Like my whole life was collapsing in on me. And I was like, dude, why the fuck would I want to talk to you? Why the fuck would I want to make a documentary about you? And he's going, yeah, that whole EG thing kind of sucked, eh? And then, I don't know what it was, like maybe one of the residual chemicals, like kind of just kicked in again. And I got this like, oh, we're all one. We're all friends. And I was like, yeah, it did suck, but you know what? Maybe you're cool. And he said, well, anyway, I want to make a documentary about your life. And I went, fuck my life, dude. Let's just talk. And we spent about 3 hours, like the first 3 hours of New Year's Day, me on like some fucked up drug come down, talking to each other about a documentary we were going to make, which obviously we were never going to make, but you know what it's like when you're in a come down, bullshit asshole plans that you're never going to see through. And we've all, come on, we've all talked to that asshole stranger in the bathroom like, yeah,
we've all done too much coke and then totally sports people the day after.
Oh man, the
we'll
eSport
all
life
write
right
each
here.
other, and we'll all have a holiday, and oh yeah, it'll be so cool. And we've all done that. Like, come on, guys. So anyway,
neither phone number worked for Greg. Greg's not picking up the number I had for him, nor the number that
Maybe he's watching the show.
I'm disappointed.
He's incensed by your story.
I'm disappointed.
So hang on, right? Just to be clear, we're talking about Greg, right? Okay,
yes.
Cool. Anyway, so I'm just saying, like, we should have made that documentary. By the way, dude, it would have been awesome. Like, you're so super worried that your Hitbox sponsorship is just going to evaporate. Again, I want to remind you that Aladdin is behind that sponsorship. You're going to be fine. He'd be disappointed if you told me to get fucked. Put it that way. But
I think I'm the most responsible among the entire group, which is an interesting place to be in, But
you are married.
Does that qualify him all of a sudden?
Do you want to know what's crazy? No one has ever seen Cody's wife.
I have. She's been on air. What are you talking about? She's been on air.
With them on Xbox.
She's been on air.
She showed up. She was on stream yesterday.
No, there's been a female who was in Cody's house.
If we want to talk about wives, though, me and Richard had a Daily Dot meeting earlier in the day, and his girlfriend showed up. And if I can be absolutely candid with everyone present and all those watching, you must be a remarkable charmer in real life, because there was fucking no reason that a woman that attractive would have.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine what you must have said or how many lives you
dollars.
I feed her. Have you seen the last few episodes of True Detective? I basically I just feed her a combination of drugs. She doesn't know what's going on.
Keeps her in a cage, man.
That's how it works. And I just talk to her in a creepy British accent, and it works. But yeah, no, everyone knows I'm hung like a fucking horse, dude.
Oh my god.
That's another way it works. It's a relatively boring meeting, 1 p.m. my time. Richard is sitting in trying to make esports sound as sexy as possible to our managing editor over at Daily Dot. And this absolutely gorgeous woman wanders in over frame, kisses him on the forehead, explains her day to him, and we're all just sort of like, how? What sort of tomfoolery is this man fucking, what lies has he told? You know what I mean? Like,
he's blackmailing her.
Man. So I
the worst part was I got into fucking mega trouble about that, because like, so as she went out, I apologized to the guys. I was like, oh sorry, that was really weird and creepy. And then she fucking heard me say, like, who's weird and creepy? And I was like, oh my god, the spell's gonna be broken here. Like, it was really fucked up, dude. Like, it was a tough day. The thing is as well, obviously being a trophy girlfriend and
a trophy girlfriend.
No, she is.
You're really gonna get in trouble now.
Yeah, no. She won't ever see this. She hates esports, so
she's knocked out now.
It's just between me, you guys, and the thousands of people watching, and that's fine. So anyway, she put, oh god, this is so bad. Why am I even saying this? She put the wrong fuel in her car today.
The wrong fuel? She put diesel in her fucking, what?
I don't know. Fuck, Dukes, it's late. Like, I don't want to wake her up, slagging her off. That would be double bad. Okay, so she put the wrong.
That would make the show great, though.
No, I know. But it would also. It
walked in hitting you and shit.
Yeah, oh god, it would suck. So
she like those people that get the SWAT team called on them, but better.
She put the wrong fuel in the fucking car. And then was like, holy shit, like, I can't start the car because if I did, I'm gonna break the car. So she had to call somebody out today, right? She had to pay £200 to get a guy to suck the fuel out of her car because she put the wrong fuel in the car. And the guy was there
Siphon
sucking
it
it
out.
out. I mean, like, she was talking to me on the phone. Yeah, and I mean, maybe she's having an affair. Who knows? Like, maybe I'm the sap in all of this, right? Maybe that's the best excuse. But she said,
Oh my god.
she was saying to me, like, while it was happening, like, oh, you know, the guy's super
God.
nice about it. He said if you started the car, this would have been like £2,000 worth of damage. And I was just like, holy shit. So I was doing this editorial meeting and she just came in and like, oh, this is so lame. So I put out a load of like sappy stuff for her, like, because I knew I couldn't spend any time with her because I was doing this bullshit. So I bought some chocolates and put some stuff on the thing. Yeah, I know, because I need to. Otherwise, how the fuck am I going to get laid? And she just came in and did that shit. And then I was like, yeah, you really fucked up the whole car thing. And then when she realized I was on cam, she got really pissed off. And then when she heard the words creepy, what was it? I can't remember. Creepy was one of them. Creepy and horrible or something. She just kicked off. So all my good work was in vain. And I'm probably single in the morning anyway, so don't worry. So there you go. That,
man.
Rip in
Later, buddy.
peace.
Later, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's life.
It's
So,
a journey of
you
life,
know,
man.
yeah, I know. Everybody knows it. I mean, like, fucking hell. If Chris can talk about, like, oh, I gotta quit because my kids have learned how to play baseball finally. Like, you've got Asian kids. They're gonna learn how to do everything before anyone else. Like, you know, they're probably doing, like, fucking... They've launched a Hubble telescope that none of us know about already. But, okay,
The funny thing
cool.
about Chris's Asian
Quit
kids is they're
esports,
probably going
right?
to start podcasts next week.
Yeah, well, actually,
Chan
like,
Boy-
you know,
Chan Boy's gonna be,
have
like,
you
enjoying
noticed
it.
in all of this stuff before this show, he's been saying maybe it's the last one, maybe it's the last one with me anyway. Wink, wink. His fucking 6-year-old son is taking over. That's exactly how it's gonna go. And he'll actually have smarter
new
things to
CEO.
say about each person.
Oh man. All right, guys, gotta wrap up. We gotta get the next round up here, but man, that's fun stuff. Cody, Matt, Heyoka.
I was enjoying the casual racism at the end.
That was the
That was good. Yeah, that was
good.
maybe the best segment.
Yeah, that's definitely good. No, but I appreciate
That
Cody.
all
Cody,
spoke
I'm glad you've been part of Unfiltered. You know, the last bundle of episodes that we've gotten a chance to do, and you know, after you blackballing me, I'm glad we were able to actually meet and get a chance to know each
Yeah.
other, because I used to
What a pleasure.
hate your ass, dude. But definitely good stuff, man. So
Nice to come around.
yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm gonna end on a. I'll do a reading from one of my players. I'll keep it anonymous. This is via Facebook. This is via
here-
Facebook for everyone who imagines how glamorous it is to be an esports manager. So this is via Facebook. So this is a reading. Imagine you're at a jazz bar or something. You know what I mean? Like a free verse poetry kind of thing. Why are you not fucking answering me? I wrote you a week ago that I forgot my mouse pad, and you haven't even fucking answered. I am in Germany. Why are you not doing anything underscore? Question mark. Hey. Cool. Keep reading and not answering. You're a great manager. Hey, Chief. Do your fucking job. Signed Anonymous. But anyway, I'd really like to double back on and say, when Chris announced last week, when Chris announced last week that he was quitting, man, esports, it sort of struck like a pretty sentimental chord with me, and I'm not like a necessarily extremely sentimental person. So, to put this in perspective, 2 years ago, man, like I think Jeff and Anna showed up on a show of his, and this was right when I started working as like Evil Genius as general manager, and I was like really fucking intense about like where my players and like where people in the company like appeared, and I didn't know like if this was necessarily really worth it. Chris was just a community person, and you know, we were like the big boys, and so on a very short note, man, like Chris went from 2 years ago just being a community person to this year being a person who fucking hosted a DreamHack, which is absolutely nuts if you think about it. And I think that's really important to keep in perspective. Before I pass it off to the other group of people, when I left On Gamers, I was like, fuck it, man, I'm absolutely done with esports. I think this whole thing is a joke. I think this is absolutely washed up. I had another gig lined up, and that gig fell through. Maybe a month after I left On Gamers, I talked to Chris about, just sort of like what he was doing, what he was involved in, and how he stayed so motivated. We had a conversation over maybe the course of 2 hours, and it was pretty light. And then a week later.
It was about Hearthstone, actually.
Yeah. I was doing Hearthstone. Chris was doing Hearthstone. Maybe a week later, he asked if I wanted to be a part of this show. I accepted gracious, like I was like really just over the moon that he gave me this opportunity, which was absolutely mind blowing because like a year ago I was shitting on Chris's head and not letting him interview my players and stuff like that. So Chris really went out of his way and stuck his neck out for me and let me, have these precious hours on this show. And I went from fuck esports, I'm never doing esports again, this is such a grind, to really being able to double down on my career and do this shit with him. So I really would like to thank Chris for this. There are a few people who will ever be able to do what Chris did, to really buckle down and be a community person and then fucking host a stage at DreamHack in front of, tens of thousands of people. So I would like to thank him for this opportunity, and I think that there will be maybe a handful of people in the history that will ever be able to fill his shoes. So thank you very much, Chris, and my hat's off to you, homie.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Matt, we've had the pleasure of hanging out.
I can't possibly follow that up.
Well, I mean, I get too bad. You have to. But I've had the pleasure of hanging out with you, obviously, at events and always chatting with you. You're always we have like minds on a lot of things, so it's always been just a pleasure just getting a chance to just talk to you about shit, or whether we're like talking trash about something or whatever it is, right? Definitely good times, and I still wish I could have gotten Ken on this fucking show, but that little bitch won't fucking come on the show. So
he's elusive, man.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thanks. Obviously, thanks for being on. I mean, the last show too, right? I mean, you're on the previous episode too. So definitely appreciate you.
I think you're one of esports' dirty little secrets, dude.
Oh, he is, and
that's how I think about you. Like seriously.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah, you're so fucking smart and fucking. You're on the money. You're one of the good guys.
Yeah. When I first met you, I remember it was at that Heart of the Swarm release, and we were just kind of hanging out because we didn't really have anything to do for like one of those mornings or something.
It was late at night. We went to go eat like.
I fell asleep then. I was only there the next morning. I don't know why I went to sleep so early. I've been up all day or something, but I just remember it really struck me just how enthusiastic about everything you were and about how happy you seemed to be there and just how much you loved StarCraft. And it's just, coming, especially around that time, that was around the time when a lot of the people who are very vocal about StarCraft would only talk about how shit it was and just how much they hated it, and it was just awful, just miserable. And you just stuck it out, and I think you really showed people that you just love what you do. And that's, in a world where people throw around the word passion a lot, that's a very rare thing to see someone that just has through and through genuine interest. It's very, very unique and very rare. And it's a big loss to lose people that have that sort of drive and just that sort of perspective on the gaming world itself.
Well, again, thanks for that. And, this game we're all passionate about it. I mean, we all might say different things about it, but everybody here, is definitely, at some point, maybe not Richard, but everybody here has been passionate about StarCraft 2 and still are passionate about it.
I love StarCraft. Even though
StarCraft's my first love.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a quick break. Then we're gonna have Slasher and John on. John Clark. People are probably like, "Who the fuck's John Clark?" Well, he's my co-host on Climbing the Ladder, guys. So.
Do you want to know what's
good.
amazing? John Clark is like, "Who the fuck's John Clark?" It's gonna be a great segment. Trust me.
All right, we'll be right back, guys.